Yo, it's KingsDecree here. There's a pretty interesting post on Reddit right now. The link's gonna be in the description. PTR changed just now. Here are the patch notes. This came out of nowhere for me. Not only that, but the notes therein are pretty huge. So we're gonna take a quick look at these. With my, relatively specific, perspective of not necessarily being, the most skilled player. Anyway, R&R reworked, removed 2 base strengths from 8 opposing non-gold units on the battlefield. I'm pretty sure this is Ragnarok, right? R&R. That card's gone through so many damn changes in the on the PTR. I can't even keep up. I have no, I don't even know what to think of this card anymore. Because right now, I've been playing this morning, right? Ragnarok got used out against me. It spawns through weather effects on all roads. It's kind of crappy to go up against, but whatever. And then it got changed to remove strength, and then it's getting changed again to remove more strength or less. I don't know. I have no idea. I think people are pretty upset with that card. What they did with that card. Wait. Is this the freaking meme card? Is this the card that people are up in arms against because it was like Avenging Wrath from Hearthstone? Super RNG. It's a 16 strength swing, assuming there's 8 random cards, right? I think you had to have 8 cards. Didn't hit the same one twice, I guess. So what? I think that card is. I think that effect is interesting. I think maybe changing Ragnarok, whatever it is, from what it was to what it is now is maybe a little bit weird. I mean, it's closed beta, so I mean, who cares, really? Things are gonna get changed. Dandelion 5 strength from 4. Maybe this pushes Dandelion decks a little bit. I doubt it. I don't think that's big enough buff, especially considering Dandelion is so easy to remove. It can still be removed by what's that card called? The Silver Drake dude that does 2 damage, 1 damage. It can still be removed by that. So I think if it went to 6 strength, then you're talking, man. It's still weak to Alzur's Thunder, but it would be out of range of however you say that card's name, the Silver Drake. First Light, Clear Skies now removes all weather effects rather than just on a single row. Huge change, of course. As I've been reading back in the actual Witcher game, which while I played, I didn't play the Gwent within the game. Clear Skies used to remove all weather effects. Then they changed it to a single row, and now it's back to being all weather effects. Someone who really hates weather and the way it works and how swingy it is and how it feels like, it's hard to explain, but out of all the mechanics in the game, weather is probably one of my biggest issues. And I'm glad that First Light is getting this buff to better handle weather. There's still, I'm so torn. I can see how this can be like a single powerful stab to monster decks, right? To have First Light clear all weather. But usually weather was played in a card advantage situation anyway, where you got your opponent to play their cards first, and then, or you make them play their First Light or weather removing effect or whatever first, and then you play the weather at the very end, right? I don't play a lot of monsters, so I can't really say much from that perspective, but as someone who goes against it a lot, or not a lot, but goes against it relatively frequently, compared to other decks, I like it. I like First Light. I'm already running 2. I'm already running 2 of them. Although I can see why you'd be up in arms, if you went all in on making a weather monster deck, just to get it annihilated. The people in the comments on this post are kind of is it destroyed? Is it not destroyed? We'll see. It really depends on what other kind of changes are coming to weather or weather monster or what have you. But for now, man, that's awesome, man. I love it. Madro, this guy who shortened up the names and stuff, so I'm trying to struggle to remember what card is which. It's some Madro card that monsters run, I think. +2, -2. I don't know what that means. Okay, this is another big one. Brand no longer buffs base strength. Like, oh my god, that's... Ugh. As someone who just recently got into Skelliger, discard Bran or whatever, oh, it feels so bad. And we're not talking the shieldsman dude, who the 5 or 6 strength, whatever it is, card that you play and adds 2 base strength. No. This is the deck bonus, right? He no longer makes the base strength of your cards go up, and instead it's the green number, right? It's the removable buff. That's rough, because basically what this means is it's a lot easier to do things like Dimitrium Bomb or any kind of revives. I'm pretty sure is affected. Like, I don't play enough Skelliger to really be able to pinpoint just how severe this nerf is, but I think it's a core change to the deck archetype, and I'm not really, even though I don't have a lot of experience playing with it, I'm kind of upset because I really like that about Skelliger. Like, it was all about, you know, you're still getting the same result of going to the graveyard and coming back stronger, right? I mean, generally speaking, with base strength. And I feel like they're kind of changing that just to, I guess, make it easier to play around, but because things like, okay, so what does this really affect? Morkvarg, right? Morkvarg is the card that goes to the graveyard, you lose some base strength, and then you come back, right? Keeps coming back over and over again. Basically, what this means is, as the rounds go on, Morkvarg is getting strictly weaker by 2 instead of just by 1, like it used to be. So it's a pretty big... It's hard to say exactly what the far-reaching ramifications of this nerf is, but it's definitely a nerf. It's definitely something to look at. And, you know, hey, if you're playing against it, something to play around. Okay, so reinforced Trebuchet 6 strength and 4. This could push siege attacks a little bit more. I don't think they're all that strong though, and that's not really enough of a change to really push it. Still, you can still play your non-meta siege deck or whatever. You can make it work. QG 3 strength from 2. Man, I don't know what QG is. Let me try and type this into Gwent DB. Q.
Modern Freyr is patient, but she brooks no
G.
insult.
I don't know what that is. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to move on. Operator A strength from 6. I don't even remember what that card is. Let me look it up real quick. Oh, hey, okay, I recognize that card. That's usually used in, like, what, monster? It's neutral. Choose a non-gold unit in your hand other than operator, create an exact copy in both players' hand, banish and move to the graveyard. His strength got lowered from 8 to 6. I don't think that was really all that necessary change. He was already a pretty, like, specific kind of, like, tech card. Not to tech against other decks, but to tech for your deck to kind of create interesting play styles. I feel like maybe not so. Maybe that nerf. Maybe they saw in their prime PTR servers that it was a problem. I never felt like it was a problem. I always liked that card. Zoltan Shive, 8 strength for 7. Minor buff, not really a big deal. Morkvarg got another nerf, 6 strength from 7. It's, you know, minor nerfs kind of all over the place from Morkvarg, which is like so damn annoying because I just crafted that damn thing because I thought, man, I gotta get in on this, you know, this broken ass card, right? And now he's getting all these nerfs on this PTR server. Frustrating. I should have just gone with Skelliger. You know, I was at that crossroad between and Skelliger pretty recently. Big Skelliger, because I got brain discard leader dude. Woodland Spirit, 8 strength from 7. Spawn fogs on your side only. That's pretty. Ooh, yikes, that's a pretty big nerf. And just like, I don't really get it. Like, why would you change a core rule of the game and then break it with certain cards, like Carol, whatever it is? And now Woodland Spirit, right? I really agree with Merchant. If you haven't seen Merchant's video on some of these changes, or not specifically these changes, but changes in general, you should definitely check him out as well. But he says like that's not how weather should be. I'm butchering whatever he said, but basically weather should be played on both sides always, because that's a core rule, right? When you go around changing rules, and this is not what he said, but generally speaking, I'm kind of extrapolating. But when you go around changing rules, then you kind of like, not only do you make it a more confusing game, but I mean, you're breaking your own rules. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't like it. I don't like that change. There are different ways to nerf weather or to make it less oppressive without changing a core mechanic of the game for specific cards. If that makes any sense. I'm not totally against changing game rules for mechanics, but for weather in particular, it just feels so weird. Like, weather should affect both sides of the battlefield, right? This is supposed to be a representation of an actual battlefield, right? And to only have weather on one side just kind of, just feels weird. Even if the whole battlefield thing doesn't really, who cares? It's a card game, right? This is being played on a table. But I mean, it's just kind of like, just doesn't sit right with me. Aridin now specifies that it's got... The cool thing about weather is that... I'm coming back to this, because I don't think I explained myself well. The cool thing about weather is that it affected both players, and both players had to deal with it, right? Like if you're taking a weather effect into something like Northern Realms, right? It can be super powerful. You can totally shut down the other person's side. But you also have the weather effect on your side, which you have to play around. You give up potential cards to be placed on that row, if assuming they're not weather immune or whatever, to hurt the enemy player, right? It's a double-edged sword, and that's kind of the thing that was cool about weather. It's just, it was a little bit too swingy. But I also don't think that completely removing weather entirely from one side of the board is the way to do it. Anyway, I spent way too much time talking about that. Merchant definitely says it a lot more eloquently. Aridin now specifies that it's kept by monster passive and blade. Makes sense. Clonon Crate Warriors, strength lost to 1 instead of... No, gosh, it's so confusingly written. The strength loss on Clonon Crate Warriors is now 1 instead of 2. So now it's going to be at 10 base strength, or it's going to be at 11 base strength minus 1 instead of 11 base strength minus 2. So it's a minor buff to the war cry, Clonon Crate Warriors, which isn't particularly powerful, but maybe it will emerge as the stronger decks here pretty soon. Raging Berserker, 6 strength from 4, Bear strength from 11 strength from 8. Makes sense. Took a little bit it readjusted his power to be more in line with the Raging Berserker kind of, ideal idea. You need to get him procced to turn him to that much stronger bear, what have you. Berserker Marauder, 7 strength for 4. I think I looked that up earlier. It wasn't that big of a change, or that interesting of a change. Jang Fett, don't even remember what that card is. Irveth, I hate that name. Irveth, the elf dude, 7 strength from 6. Definitely does not make cut for the nerf that he got. And I played against him and I thought it sucked to play up against that card, but man, that really has to suck to lose that, damage to gold. Which is another thing that I could even go way off on tangent. Like, gold cards are supposed to not be affected by anything, right? And then you have some cards that do affect gold, but then we take it away from them, but some cards still can. Whatever. There's so much to talk about on those rules and breaking them and all that. Redanian Elite, 7 strength from 6. Pretty minor buff, but with everything around it being nerfed, maybe Henslet. I think his name is Henslet. Henslet. Gold archetype, Northern Realms, could emerge as a strong deck. Look out for it. I'm definitely going to be making one here pretty soon. And Triss Butterfly, 6 strength from 5. I don't care. That card never gets played. Who cares? Anyway, some people are going through these comments. Rip weather. Triss Butt seems pretty strong. Don't like to change the Ragnarok. People are pretty upset about the Ragnarok change. Not only the Ragnarok change, but the weather changes. Weather wrecked. Rip weather. 16 strength on crate. Who needs Witchers? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Anyway, so yeah, I think the changes are really interesting. It's very clear that like they're taking this closed beta seriously. It's not just like they're actually making core identity changes within the game. And I think that's fantastic. Even if you don't particularly like the changes, what's coming through at the very least is conversation. Basically, they're saying, "Hey, we're trying to fix our game, or not necessarily fix it. We're trying to make our game better," which is a better way of saying that. The game's not broken, it works. It's relatively fine, and it's getting better. At the very least, they have their sights set on an evolving game, and I love that. But basically, the big thing, Skellige, pretty big nerfs across the board, really, and then Weather, big buff, or no, Weather, big nerf. Like Clear Sky is big buff. Anyway, that's it. Just wanted to kind of, share my perspective on these changes. Thanks for watching.